All right, CNT 120, Chapter 4 Lab. We're looking at Part 3 on, we're going to look at the UDP header specifically, but we're going to do that via a DNS packet that we're going to look for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Wireshark, open a new web page that I have not loaded before, capture that with Wireshark, and then after the web page loads, I will stop the Wireshark. And in there, I'm going to look for DNS information so I can look at the UDP header. That's what I'm going to do. So I have Wireshark up here. This was from my last session, so I will just clear that out, and I'm actually going to do a continue without saving, so it's going to start recording right away. I'm going to go over here to my browser. I'll open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to imsa.com, on one of the sports car racing sites I like. I have not been there yet today on this machine. So I loaded that web page, and I'll come over here and stop my Wireshark. Good. I've now captured this web page request and also loading. So now I'm going to apply a DNS filter, and I'm going to look for my DNS query. So up top here on the top bar, I will do DNS, and I'm going to scroll down through, and I'm going to look for my imsa.com that I just loaded. So I'm going to scroll down through. I'm looking at this part over here to try to find that imsa.com. There's CDW, Amazon, Cable Organizer, Cisco, Google, Washington Post, Digium, all kinds of good things in here. My goodness, look at all that. I'm going to keep going. Here we go. Here's an imsa.com request. So I'm going to look for a query. I'm going to look for a DNS query that I issued. And I'll do that by looking at the info field, and I'll also look at my source IP, which should be my machine. There's my machine talking to a DNS server. So I'm going to look at that query, and I'm going to right-click on that, so I'm just looking at the UDP stream. So I will right-click on top of that and do follow UDP stream. I will close that out. Now I'm only looking at the query and the response that my machine dealt with talking to the DNS server. That's all I'm going to look at, those two packets. So looking at the query now, I'm going to look at the DNS query, and I'm going to open the DNS header. So if I take a look at this, here's my DNS header. Here's the query saying, hey, what's the address of imsa.com? And that was the query went from my machine out to the DNS server. I'm then going to look at the response packet, the next one in line. This is the response coming back from the server to me. So the source now in this case is the server coming back to me. And under the query field, I see now an answer field. It goes, hey, this is the address of that website for you, 191.237, etc. So there's the response coming back to me, the answer coming back. So there's my DNS query and response. Well, now I'm going to look a little deeper because I really want to look at the UDP header. That's really why we're here. So I'm going to open the UDP header and see, look how small this header is. Only a source port of 53 and destination port of 61.926. This was coming from the DNS server, coming back to my browser to that tab. That's what that number usually is indicating. Really small header, not much overhead on this because it was a simple request, simple response. And if you think back to what we talked about in UDP, that's the idea of UDP. Very quick sending of information, whether it be voice, video, or in this case, a very simple data packet. So there's my UDP header. That's it. There's not much to it. Let's save our packets for submission to D2L. So we'll do File, Export Specified Packets. We're going to call this guy Chapter 4, I think I call it UDP Capture. I keep it nice and simple. And I'll leave the extension PCAP, and I'll do a save on that guy. And there is my UDP packet saved for submission to D2L.